Hello, I'm Nesha. I'm the current VP Inclusion this year, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I've achieved this year. There's a lot of things that we've done together collectively as an exec. I'm not going to focus on these ones. They're going to be in a separate video, but the things that I've been working on, with other people and with some of the inclusion reps. The biggest thing that I started with was the Black History Month celebration. So the way I wanted Black History Month to be was a springboard for further change that would go on throughout the year, not just we talk about it in October and then we never think about it again. And the most exciting thing in that is that I secured funding from the university to get a big mural painted on the side of Graham Hills opposite Rotten Row Gardens and Livingston Tower. So that's really exciting, and hopefully that's going to get finished in springtime next semester. We also started a Decolonizing the Curriculum panel event. We held one in Black History Month, and that went really well. It was really interesting, really fun. It's also started other events to be planned for the year ahead, and so hopefully that will continue on throughout, and it won't just, like I say, end in October. And I have to give a shout out to Nathan in particular. Nathan's our current BAME rep, and he's been doing amazing work. We set up the BAME Society again, and he's been having regular drop-ins, which have been really good. So going on from that, there were a couple of other things that came up through the year. So as everyone I imagine knows, there was a rise in spiking cases this year. So I worked with the women's rep Eva and with Phil, the commercial manager, to get the bar a bit more safe and a bit ready to handle situations like that. So we've got the stop tops, which are foil lids for your drinks, and all the bar staff have been trained on the Ask for Angela campaign. Eva took a lead in that. It was really, really well done. We also closed the bar in solidarity with the Big Night In protest as a call for better safety measures in clubs and bars across Glasgow. And on the same sort of idea of the gender works, we're involved in a pilot for a charter called the Emily Test, and that's about making sure that the communication for gender-based violence reporting and the measures in place for safety means that it's as good as we can possibly make it. So I worked with them on a focus group on how we're doing and what we can be doing to make that better. And the bigger thing on the gender issues was the 16 Days of Action campaign that's just finished. So again, worked with Eva, the women's rep, to create a consent module and ran that in person during the 16 Days of Action. We also started a campaign on getting the parks lit up again. So during COP, the council put in lights in Calvin Grove Park to make it safer, but they took them away again after COP ended, because parks are daytime spaces and people shouldn't be in them at night, so they don't need to light them up, which we've put a campaign out to protest that and to get lights put in parks for higher safety. The 16 Days of Action really culminated in the Fight for the Night March, which had about 60 attendees, but everyone there was really great, really loud, really enthusiastic. So it was a really great night, and it was followed by a rally in the union afterwards, where we had a couple of speakers from Women's Aid. We also, that night, we had a display up for artwork and letters and just various pieces of work or statements people wanted to make on gender-based violence, and that is still on display in the union now. Did a walk around with the disabled rep, Aspen, and the LGBT rep, Ailey. So we worked together to go around the campus and see where the problem areas were for accessibility, bathrooms that accessible bathrooms that weren't accessible or didn't have the red cords, or the red cords were tied up. So we've seen where all those problems are, and we've talked to disability and wellbeing team to work on that. I've also worked with Ailey on an inclusive language policy for the union, which should be being submitted to Parliament in the new year. I've also, on that sort of matter, proposed to the senior management team and to the exec that we take the bathrooms on the first floor and make them all gender neutral, because in our old building we had a whole set of gender neutral toilets, and now we just have ones that are conflated with the accessible toilets, so people don't feel as comfortable using them. So I'm trying to change that. We also began work on the reflection room in the new learning and teaching building, because previously it was being used as a storeroom. It wasn't fit for purpose, so we're trying to make that to be a bit of a nicer space, and trying to get a few spaces secured for what was the Liberation Committee and is now the Inclusion Committee, just so that there's places where those groups feel safe and comfortable. So that's a wrap up of the things that I've worked on this year. The work will continue into next year, and I'm excited for what's going to come ahead. So hope everyone has a very happy festive season.